Good evening, Jody here from Healing Journey. To find more information about me, you can go to www.healingjourneyservices.com. I have lots of awesome free stuff for you. I have a leaky gut guide. I also have a quiz you can do to find out if you have leaky gut, and I have a great 4-week program guaranteed to transform your health in 8 minutes or less. You get an email every day. So feel free to head on over there and get more information. So today I wanted to talk to you about my favorite topic, which obviously is gut issues and digestion. And I wanted to share with you 5 ways that you can improve your digestion. So the first way that you can improve your digestion is through the food choices that you make. You've probably heard this before, but the food we eat is super important, and some food is harder for our bodies to digest than others. So we want to make food choices that are easy for our body to digest. So a couple of thoughts around this. So if you have really bad digestion and you don't really produce enough stomach acid or your digestive enzymes aren't working properly, then you're going to have an issue breaking down food. So you're not going to want to eat a bunch of raw food because you simply do not have the ability to break it down. So this is where things can be a little bit counterproductive, because sometimes people assume that, and the media is kind of touting, raw food is the best food, it's nutrient dense, you're not wrecking the nutrients by boiling them, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't have the ability to break down raw food, then it can actually cause more damage to your digestive tract, because things like leafy greens, for example, are going to start rubbing against your intestines. So you can kind of imagine that as I'm saying it, and it really doesn't feel good. So how your food is cooked is important, whether you're steaming your food, whether you're frying your food in nasty oils, are you eating a bunch of gluten? All of these things, again, are going to impact your body's ability to digest. So lots of things to consider when we think about food choices. Just to back up again, if you want to make healthy food choices, some options are choosing healthy cooking oils. So a lot of times people are afraid they can't fry their food, but in an extent you can. Obviously charred food isn't the best for you, but if you do want fried food or to use a healthy oil would be very important. So oils that I recommend are coconut oil as well as avocado oil. And then if you're not cooking but you just want a dressing, olive oil is also fantastic. You can also consider ghee if you don't have dairy issues, or grass-fed butter if you also don't have dairy issues, but ghee or clarified butter would be better. The other thing when you're wanting to eat healthy is I suggest that you eliminate gluten. This is because gluten is a huge allergen for most people. It actually activates a molecule called zonulin, which tears apart the lining of your gut and allows food molecules to go in. So anyone, whether celiac or not, has this response. So eliminating gluten is important. And then choosing foods that are natural and organic are also going to improve your digestion, because then you're not consuming foods that have pesticides in them and mucking around with your digestive tract. Number 2 is to chew your food. So this is really important. When we think about digestion starts in the mouth. So I'll do another podcast about the microbiome in the mouth and how that is linked to health issues, but really important to chew your food. So if you're swallowing food partially whole, if you're eating on the run, so I had a really hard time doing this, would often have really short breaks in between clients, and I would literally inhale food very, very quickly. And then I would be surprised that my body could not digest it. Of course it couldn't digest it. I was barely chewing it. So taking the time to chew your food is very, very important, because that's going to help break it down, which is then going to be easier for the stomach to continue that digestive process. And hand in hand with that, number 3 is to reduce your stress. So this goes with chewing your food, because if you're stressed out, you're probably not going to chew your food properly. You're probably going to do an inhaling of their food, much like I did. The second thing with stress is that it is going to impact hydrochloric acid or HCl production. And so HCl is really important for the stomach. We want the stomach to be super acidic when food lands in it, and also when pathogens land in it. Pathogens will not survive in an acidic environment. And obviously HCl is going to help break down our foods. If we're running around, we're super stressed, we have super high cortisol, we haven't come down, then obviously our body is not going to be able to break this food down. And you can imagine steps in digestion, right? First you want to chew your food, then the food goes down into your stomach where you want that HCl production. So if you're not chewing your food properly, that's going to affect your stomach. If you're chewing your food, but then you don't have stomach acid production, well, that food is going to be half digested. It's going to go into your small intestine half digested. It's probably going to lead to SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so that is going to cause more issues for you because then you're not going to be able to get any nutrients from the food because you couldn't break it down properly in your stomach. The fourth thing is we want to kill pathogens. And so this is where you may need an herbal protocol come in handy. So oftentimes, people change their diet. They start chewing their food, they're super zen when they're eating, and they still don't notice differences. So if this is you, then you likely have gut issues that are going on that need a little bit of support. So sometimes for people, if the issues aren't super major or if their body's in an amazing healing state, getting rid of the foods that cause major digestive dysfunction are enough. There are people that I know that have done this, for example, with thyroid issues or other kind of GI issues, and have had noticeable changes in their symptoms just by doing diet alone. And then there are people like me. So I have tried pretty much every special diet out there, and it simply was not enough to address my undigested stool. So no matter how clean I ate, no matter how much I cooked my food, no matter how careful I was in selecting it, I think one point I was down to about 5 to 10 different types of food. That's all I could tolerate. And my body was still not healing. So then it becomes clear that there are major infections going on. So for me, I had bacterial infections. I had an amoeba called Blastocystis hominis. I had ropeworm, and I likely had worms called strongyloides. So all of those things were having a party in my gut. So no matter how clean I ate, my body simply couldn't reverse and clear out. It did not have the strength to clear out the pathogens that were living in my gut, even if I gave it the proper nutrients, because I was just too far gone. And so what I needed was very intense herbal protocols to help me out. And then the food that I was eating, my body could slowly start to absorb. So number 4 is address your digestive issues. If you're not sure what your digestive issues are, this is where lab testing comes in. You can go conventional. Chances are it's not going to pick up everything. That was my personal experience. It actually didn't pick up anything for me, and I had a whole host, literally, of things going on. And then there's also the GI map. You can head on over to my website, and there's information there about gut testing under the resource section if you're interested in learning more about the GI map, which tends to tell people exactly what's going on with their gut, and then you can target herbs that way. Number 5 is enjoy. So if you think about how we did food as a society, food is a very communal activity. And so as much as possible, sit down with family and friends, plan dinner parties if you live alone, and try and connect with people at least once a week to have a meal that is enjoyable. So this also is going to go back to the stress thing, and it's going to lower your stress. You're probably going to be able to chew your food a bit more because you're not going to be in a rush because you're enjoying your company. And so this is greatly going to improve your digestion. So these are 5 tips for you to have healthier digestion. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. If you'd like to talk further about how I can support you in gut testing and moving further and digging deeper, please feel free to personal message me. Thank you very much for joining me this evening.